He exposed Democrat leaders' hidden Epstein ties on the House floor, emails, fundraising outreach, and messages they tried to bury while calling him a liar. The power imbalance flipped the moment he revealed the receipts, and you're about to watch their entire narrative collapse in real time.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I've taken to the floor today to respond to Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries calling me a, quote, stone-cold liar during a press conference defending the recent discovery of Democrats' communication with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. And I bring with me something that he and many of his fellow Democrats like Jamie Raskin, Jasmine Crockett, and Stacey Plaskett, apparently detest. And that is a thing called evidence. Tuesday, I gave a speech on the House floor detailing my House Oversight Committee's good work to date on our Epstein investigation. After all, Hakeem Jeffries, the Democrats in Congress, and your allies in the corporate media have been demanding a full release of the Epstein documents for months, including all the documents from the Epstein estate. So without hesitation, I subpoenaed all of the Jeffrey Epstein estate documents because I, as well as my Republican colleagues on the House Oversight Committee, we want to know what really happened, what went on, who was involved in these unspeakable crimes. We want justice for the survivors. That's why we're doing this investigation. So House Oversight obtained over 30,000 pages of documents from the estate. Unlike the Democrats, who only released 10 of those over 30,000 pages of documents, Republicans on the House Oversight Committee released every single document on the website for the American people to see. Democrats and many in the media were anxiously clutching their pearls in anticipation of potential dirt on President Trump. In the end, after full transparency by the Republicans on the Oversight Committee, there was nothing new about the president's former relationship with Epstein, and certainly nothing scandalous. But we did find two sitting Democrat members of Congress had communication with Epstein. First, it's been highly reported and debated about Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett texting during an Oversight Committee hearing with Jeffrey Epstein while trying to conspire with him to hurt or embarrass Donald Trump. But according to Jamie Raskin, that was okay because Mr. Epstein was her constituent. Now, how embarrassing a rationale is that? But the second communication was this email right here, where Hakeem Jeffries' campaign reached out directly to Jeffrey Epstein, soliciting campaign dollars for the, quote, Brooklyn Barack. Now, whereas Jamie Raskin explained Plaskett's communication with Epstein as simply responding to a constituent, Hakeem Jeffries had a very different response when asked about it by the media. He denied its existence. Hakeem Jeffries said, Comer is a stone-cold liar. And then he reverted to calling me names for the second week in a row. So let's read it to make sure. To Jeffrey Epstein, and that's the real Jeffrey Epstein, not Jasmine Crockett's Jeffrey Epstein. This is the real Jeffrey Epstein. From Hakeem Jeffries' campaign. Dear Jeffrey, we are thrilled that we are working with Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, one of the rising stars of the New York delegation, sometimes referred to as Brooklyn's Barack. Hakeem is committed to electing a Democrat majority in 2014 and is encouraging his friends to participate in a DCCC fundraising dinner with President Obama and Hakeem Jeffries. It ends with a number for Jeffrey Epstein to call to go to the dinner and, quote, get an opportunity to get to know Hakeem better. Here's the evidence. The email speaks for itself. The only stone-cold liar in this debate is Hakeem Jeffries. So, Mr. Minority Leader, take a deep breath, chill out, stop lying, stop with the juvenile name calling, and own up to the fact that your campaign solicited campaign cash from Jeffrey Epstein. With that, Mr. Speaker, I yield back.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Ruiz, for 5 minutes.
What you just witnessed was a rare moment in Congress where the protected political class had its own rhetoric turned against it by hard, documented evidence. Congressman Comer didn't respond with insults, spin, or emotional theatrics. He responded with proof, the very thing powerful institutions fear most when they've spent years shaping a narrative that benefits them. For months, Democrats and their media allies demanded the release of every Epstein document, pushing the idea that transparency would finally corner their political opponents, especially Trump. But when the House Oversight Committee obtained more than 30,000 pages from the Epstein estate, it was the Republicans, not the Democrats, who released every single page for the American public. And buried in those pages were the very connections Democrats insisted didn't exist. Direct communication between sitting Democrat members and Epstein himself. The evidence included Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett texting Epstein during an oversight hearing, an act later brushed off by Jamie Raskin as her responding to a constituent, and then the bombshell email from Hakeem Jeffries' campaign soliciting donations from Epstein while praising Jeffries as Brooklyn's Barack and inviting Epstein to a fundraiser with President Obama. Instead of acknowledging the document, Jeffries called Comer a stone-cold liar, hoping that loud denial would overpower printed facts. But this moment reveals something far bigger than a single email. It exposes how power structures operate. Institutions protect themselves first, and truth is only demanded when it damages the other side. When the documents seemed likely to hurt Trump, the excitement was palpable. But when the documents revealed Democrat connections, suddenly the story became inconvenient, minimized, or ignored altogether. And what about the victims of Epstein's crimes? They have waited decades for full accountability while politicians weaponize their trauma for partisan attacks. Those survivors do not care about party labels. They care about every person who enabled, protected, or benefited from Epstein's network. Ask yourself, if this email had come from a Republican campaign, would every major outlet not treat it as breaking news for weeks? If a Republican had texted Epstein mid-hearing, would it be dismissed as an innocent exchange? Why is the outrage selective? Why is transparency demanded in one direction but resisted in the other? This is the systemic rot Comer called out. The idea that elites can lie, deny, and insult their way out of accountability while expecting the American people to swallow it. But the evidence is now public. The documents are real. And the attempts to bury this moment only make the truth louder. This isn't about left or right. It's about justice, transparency, and the principle that no one is above the Constitution, no matter how protected they think they are. If you believe survivors deserve real truth, if you believe corruption should be exposed no matter the party, and if you believe the American people deserve honesty instead of political theater, then share this video, subscribe, and stay loud, because silence is exactly what the system relies on to keep the truth buried. He exposed Democrat leaders' hidden Epstein ties on the House floor, emails, fundraising outreach, and messages they tried to bury while calling him a liar. The power imbalance flipped the moment he revealed the receipts, and you're about to watch their entire narrative collapse in real time.